Life isn't neutral. Left unattended, it doesn't automatically move you forward. It slowly pulls you backward. That's why success isn't just about skills, knowledge, or opportunity. It's also about avoiding the internal habits that quietly sabotage progress before it ever has a chance to grow. I call these attitude traps. They don't scream, they whisper. And if you don't recognize them early, they can undo years of effort. Let's walk through the most common ones, how they show up, why they're dangerous, and how people move past them. This one looks harmless on the surface. It sounds like, "I'm not that worried about it," or "I'll figure it out eventually." The danger? Drifting never leads uphill. Progress requires energy, engagement, emotion. You don't reach meaningful goals by being half present. A powerful pattern to notice is this. When someone truly commits effort to what they're doing, one of two things happens quickly. It opens new doors, or it reveals they're in the wrong place. Both outcomes are useful. The illusion is believing effort should wait for the perfect opportunity. In reality, momentum usually creates better opportunities. Indecision looks like intelligence, but it behaves like paralysis. You know the feeling. Overthinking every option, waiting for certainty, worrying about choosing the wrong path. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Staying stuck is also a decision. Movement, any direction, creates feedback. Feedback creates clarity. People who live full, interesting lives don't avoid decisions. They make many of them. Some work, some don't. Either way, they learn. The real cost isn't choosing wrong, it's refusing to choose at all. Doubt shows up in many forms, but self-doubt is the most limiting. It whispers questions like, what if I'm not capable? What if this doesn't last? What if I fail? Over time, this mindset quietly lowers expectations until potential never fully gets tested. Growth begins with a simple shift, seeing yourself as someone capable of learning, adapting, and improving. Belief doesn't mean arrogance. It means giving yourself permission to try seriously. Worry feels productive, but it rarely is. It drains energy, clouds judgment, and creates stress without creating solutions. Over time, it can affect health, relationships, and decision-making. Life will always contain challenges. Worry just makes you experience them twice, once in your head and once in reality. Letting go of constant worry isn't easy, but learning to address problems when they arrive, instead of rehearsing them endlessly, frees up an enormous amount of mental space. Life doesn't become easy, but it becomes lighter. Caution sounds responsible. Too much of it becomes fear in disguise. Many people don't avoid action because they lack opportunity. They avoid it because they're uncomfortable with uncertainty. Here's the reality. Everything worth doing carries risk. Avoiding action has a cost too. It's just delayed and less visible. You don't eliminate risk by doing nothing. You only change which risk you take. A life fully protected from uncertainty often becomes protected from growth as well. Pessimism isn't realism. It's selective attention. It focuses on what might go wrong, what's flawed, and why something won't work. Over time, this becomes a habit. Two people can look at the same situation and see completely different realities. Not because the facts are different, but because their thinking filters are. How you interpret events often matters more than the events themselves. Your thoughts shape your expectations. Your expectations shape your actions. Your actions shape your outcomes. Think of your mind like a production facility. Whatever you constantly feed into it, news, conversations, content, becomes the raw material your future is built from. If you overload it with fear, negativity, and distraction, don't be surprised if clarity and confidence are hard to find. Strong thinkers are selective consumers. They guard what enters their mental space because they understand you can't build something strong out of weak ingredients. Complaining feels relieving in the moment, but it creates zero momentum. Time spent complaining is time not spent improving, adapting, or learning. Worse, it trains the mind to focus on helplessness instead of possibility. Small amounts, repeated often, slowly erode ambition. If there's one habit that quietly disconnects effort from results, it's this one. Progress isn't just about what you start. It's also about what you refuse to let grow inside you. These attitude traps don't destroy potential overnight. They weaken it gradually. Awareness is the first defense. If you stay intentional about effort, decisions, thinking, and perspective, you give yourself a real chance to move forward in a world that otherwise rewards drift. And that awareness alone puts you ahead of most people.